once again, my name is Mario Kwandiuti, Director Startup Guy in Lagos, and it's my pleasure to be having this conversation today with the CEO of Nimbus Media, Mr. Wale Adegoke. It's a pleasure, sir. So, sir, your profile says that you have been described as a modern day Renaissance man. Can you please, tell us what exactly that means?
Okay, yeah. So it's people that actually told me that you're like a Renaissance man. So a couple of people told me that, so I had to go and find out what that is. And then when I read about what that is, I realized that okay, so this is actually something about me. So I am in a core of a generalist, you would say. So I know a bit about a lot. So and maybe a lot about a bit. So, I like to learn about different things, and I've been opportune to operate in different fields. So in terms of my ideology, I like to keep an open mind. I like to hear from different people, so I don't necessarily feel like I have the whole thing figured out, or I have the whole idea. I would like to hear from other people. So I think that's part of the connection. And in terms of my outside of work, of course, in work, I have my professional pursuits. I actually studied building technology in university. And when I did that, I didn't have in mind that I was going to do anything else but that building. What I knew I didn't want to be a banker or a dad, a medical practitioner. I didn't want to be that either. And when I finished university, I started working in the construction field. But then, because of my love for learning about different kind of things, I started learning a lot about media, technology, digital screens, and that was what got me into Nimbus Media. So also with that kind of just learning about different things, I started learning about I love sports a lot. So I've always loved sports. I love to play sports and I love to be a spectator. So due to my passion in sports, also learning about sports and technology, which is also a big passion of mine. In fact, technology is an enabler for me to be able to be in any way such a thing as a Renaissance man, if I do say so, because of the opportunity the internet has given to learn about so many things, to tap into so much information from different minds. So, all in that journey, and that's how I started a company called LVM, which our focus is on sports fans, young people, technology, fan engagement, fantasy sports, and just connecting community and value together. It's still an ongoing journey. I'm still learning. So in terms of being a Renaissance man, my curiosity is open. My mind is open to learn more, and I think that's why people call me that.
Amazing, amazing. Wow. So I believe that before the end of this conversation today, we must get lots of philosophy from you, because being someone that loves knowledge, that knows a bit about everything.
Not everything, not everything, but I know a bit about a lot of things. I didn't say everything.
Okay.
I know a bit about a lot of things and a lot about a bit of things.
Okay, so you are into sports, you are into media, advertising, technology. How do you marry all these things together?
I think they're all related actually. Yeah. So the baseline of everything is technology, in the sense that technology is an enabler for most anything, really. And so when you talk about media, my own passion for media just comes from my admiration of aesthetic value. in the environment generally, you know. When I walked into this place now, I see the mural on the wall. These are what makes this place, give this place an identity, give this place, um, make it more than just a brick and mortar. You know, when we put, and so like media is basically like that. You know, if you had a white space and then you painted some color on one side, you've given a new dimension to that place. So that's the basics of media. But then coming from media into advertising, which is how you make money from media, basically. It's about the audience. So what are um, people that are coming to the place, what are they experiencing? What are they seeing? Of course, what you see dictates how you feel, and how you feel dictates how you behave. And then we have a whole loop of value that's created from that. Of course, the people that pay for advertising understand this. That's why they pay premium to have their brand showcased here and there. Of course, this is to influence how people feel about their brand. In the long term and in the short term, decisions will be made based on feelings. So this is where media and advertising come in, and I feel like this is in terms of interest is ubiquitous to any field. You must be able to inspire the feelings of people, and you know how they will behave. Just like, um, for example, if you are in education field where people are using the blackboard to teach, there are certain things you can show on a blackboard. But then if you move forward some steps, you can have a screen, and then you might be able to show videos and other content that will deepen the experience. And definitely those learning from the blackboard and those learning with those tools and those media. Of course, on the blackboard, you are there, you are writing all those things. You could have maybe been there. I don't know if anybody here has watched The Simpsons when Bart is on punishment and he just keeps writing that thing. They left him there and he went and he just kept writing it, filled the whole board. So for you to fill the whole board with content that you're going to, you need time to write all that. But if you have the digital technology, then you could, have this prepared content already. You don't need to be there writing the whole thing on it. And you can show people and have even a deeper experience. So the way technology is an enabler of is, and then coming to sports, sport is just the most simple and basic of things, really, in the sense that in this room here, we can actually have a ball game. Just if I can take off my shoes, set the two here, you take off your shoes, set the two here, we are pushing ourselves into teams, and we'll play a ball game just right here. But then what brings up the levels of sophistication that you now see the Premier League, which is like the pinnacle of maybe sports entertainment right now globally. It's still the same ball game, but then you see the layers added onto it. You see the audience around the pitch. You see the jersey these guys wear. They have brands. The jerseys are attractive. You want to. The jerseys have already been put in the stores, and there are pictures of the players modeling the jerseys. All this is outside of just the normal ball game, but these are the things that gave the ball game the flavor and the value. So much so that people are willing to pay hundreds of millions for their brand to be in that place. People are willing to pay millions for players because this player's profile has been boosted in the media. Of course, social media added an extra layer to it so people can now see that, okay, this player, I like this is how his family looks, this is what he does. So the whole immersion of sports media, technology, I feel they are quite interconnected, and in fact, I don't even think I can even separate them. Yeah.
Wow. I really got a lot of philosophizing in what you just said. All right, thank you so much. Still on Nimbus Media, can you share with us your journey so far? You know, how did it all start? We know that it started from your love and passion for things like that. But at what point did you decide to make a business out of media and advertising? And what has the journey been like?
So when I was in secondary school, I got my hand on a book, Harvard Business Review, Marketing, and I read that book, and it was quite an eye opener for me then, because I used to watch a lot of TV. Then it was all about TV, and they were like cable TV. So
Danger Mouse.
you know, we had cable TV, so we used to watch Cartoon Network. We used to watch. There's so many things. Yeah, so many things. Like we used to watch on TV, cable TV. Then we didn't have phone to like I can just open the internet on my phone. Then the internet was a desktop in the house, you know, and you get to use it turn by turn or as time permits. As things moved on, I read that I was of course inspired, but then as a youngster, that's just one thing I learned. I was still open-minded, and of course, I was a science student. Our education, you know, you are divided into science, arts, commercial classes, and then I was a science student, so I wanted to study civil engineering because I had good grades in physics and chemistry, like a science student. But reading that book, I knew that I wanted to be involved in something creative because I love creative stuff, watching cartoons, watching TV, and all that. And then once we had this BlackBerry, you could easily browse the internet with less restrictions because the BlackBerry bundle at that time allowed you to do that. And from there, you have a world of learning so many things. And I was also privileged to travel to UK and other places and see how things were also. One of the things that always struck me is that whenever I traveled to UK as a youngster, I was always excited to see the ads on the billboards outside on the streets, in the shopping malls. Those ads, they gave the environment flavor. They made the place as in look very lively. You're always looking forward to see, and they were really creative ads. So those are things that struck with me. But continuing my journey, I went into the built environment and I started working in construction industry. And I was working in the industry for years, doing my thing, learning of course, and of course project management is very important. So I also got a lot of training in project management, and because I was a consultant, I had a lot of training in management to be able to manage people. Um, I had an opportunity with a friend to draw up a proposal for then Tejo Market. Tejo Market, big market in Lagos, and it got burnt. So there was a redevelopment. So during that time, myself and my friend, who ended up being my co-founder, we started looking at, because he knew somebody that was involved in the project. So we started looking at, can we put together a proposal so that we can work on the advertising in that place, in that new development. And we went as far as getting we're able to get the approval for us to do that. But then, as God will have it, the people that gave us the approval, the developers that we were working with, they got into a financial issue and they were not able to pay their loans. And so the bank took the project over, and based on that, we were no longer, because the people that took the project over are the one that are going to, apportion what gets to be done. And based on that, we had to go back to the drawing board. Took another long months, I was still in paid employment, still working my side projects, trying to get it off the ground, and then we got Ikeja City Mall. And that was when things really kicked off. We were able to get some investors, because what we were trying to do there was something that wasn't really it wasn't commonplace in Nigeria. There were digital screens on the roadside. They weren't really indoor digital screens that were being used for advertising like the way we wanted it to be done and the way we've gone to, Stratford Center in UK and other places where we've seen things being done in like a top-notch way, we really felt like we could try to replicate something similar in Nigeria. And that was how we did it at Ikeja City Mall. It took a long time before we could get clients to come on board, but we installed it in a way that we felt was world class. And we also put content on it that we felt was world class content. And as we hoped, clients also saw it.
How long ago was this?
This was 2012.
2012. 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And that was the start.
And that was the start. And so from there, now we are 13 shopping malls in Nigeria. We've also done different kind of branding activation, not just at shopping malls, but at destination, at airports, work with talent, work with brands. And it's been a journey, really, from greenhorn, basically, in the sense of this construction. Now I'm an advertising professional and been in the industry and know how it works a little bit because there's still a lot to learn. So, yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay, so if I got you clearly, you do all kinds of digital screens for advertising.
So we focus on destinations.
On destinations.
That's places where people come to converge,
Okay.
shopping mall, airport. Out of home advertising is very broad, and the most popular type is the roadside billboards, which they constitute a huge amount of the inventory. But then we actually focus on a niche, which is destination, which allowed us to be able to find our feet as against jumping in there with the sharks and all wherever they are. But because we were smaller, we had smaller resources, smaller experience, we decided to focus on a niche. And,
okay. So you don't do things like TV ads, social media, radio, strictly destinations.
Strictly destinations and below the line, that's activation. So advertising is above the line and below the line. Above the line in the sense, above the line means things that mass media,
okay,
things you see like TV,
okay,
radio, billboards, those are above the line. What below the line is any form of advertising that gets feedback. So product test, market activation, those are below the line because you can get feedback. Polls, surveys, those are below the line. You can get feedback from the audience or the market.
All right. So let's take a pause on Nimbus Media and go to LVM World. We'll still come back to Nimbus. How did you, what informed your starting LVM Sports?
Yeah, I love sports, so it's a lot about my own passion. And then, of course, my environment. The passion in the environment for sports is actually, it's palpable. When I walked in here, I heard the Premiership match is going on already. I had an urge to go and watch the match, just to go and this is a match day today. So there are about, I think, 7 matches. So each of these matches represents a constituency, one team versus another team. This team with their own fans, this other team with their own fans. And then for the duration of that match, they are loggerheads. And then whoever wins is full of jubilation, and whoever lost is downcast. And then the whole sportsmanship thing comes in. Sportsmanship as a concept is something that I really connect to. Sportsmanship says that we should enjoy the sport for the sake of the sport. We should put our best foot forward. And when we've given our best, at the end, we shake hands, and we stay cool. So I think that's a very good life way to look at life and that's why I love sports also because sports has that philosophy to it. When you watch, the World Cup is coming soon. We're going to see a lot of things that will bring humanity to mind. I remember the last Euros when this player for Denmark, Christian Eriksen, he had a stroke on the field or a heart issue on the field. So the opponent players, they were there trying to resuscitate him. The game stopped. You could see the emotions. So I really see humanity in sports, and I feel like sports is a very big way for us to push the young people because this environment we are in is full of young people. The average age of Nigerian is 19 years, less than 20 years. The average age of an African is less than 20 years. So sports teaches so many things. Your attitude to life. You know, if you face life with a sportsman-like attitude, I can bet you that you're gonna have a lot of people looking up to you. People look up to sports people for good reason because of what they are showing. They are showing sacrifice. They are showing discipline. They are showing respect for authority, the referee, and all that. So, in general, sports has really played a big role in my life, and that's why I decided to start something sport related. Of course, leveraging on technology because I feel like that's a way to impact a lot of people, create a lot of value and a lot of connections.
Great. So, what exactly does LVM Sports do?
Okay, so we have or we had an app called lovefootball.ng. So lovefootball.ng basically it was a community where football fans can connect with each other and also get rewarded. So the connection comes from chatting with each other, and then the reward comes from playing games, quizzes, and polls. Games, fantasy games, picking your team, and then fielding your team against others. So they compete for rewards. Fantasy football is actually something that started in the US through American football, gridiron drafting. It's quite data centric. When technology came in, it helped because people don't have to carry spreadsheets and schedules up and down. They can just do it on a phone or a computer. And this made it really, really move much faster, get more adoption. And then English Premier League fantasy is like the most popular football fantasy, soccer fantasy around in Nigeria. And it has over 800,000 Nigerians registered playing. And from that, people are doing syndicate games. So people use that platform, that Premiership platform, to play games with each other, but then they make wagers on the side. So, like myself and you now, we could pick our team on that platform and then say whoever has the top points between our teams, 1,000, 1,000. Whoever has the top point will take the whole 2,000.
Okay.
And that's something I've been doing since like 2006, playing on with friends and things like that. So having an opportunity to develop a platform that you can actually have a wallet, so you don't need to do the by the side thing. And in case I default now, what if I had more points than you? But then when it's time for the money, you now say, no, don't worry, next week. I don't have money. Somebody needs or something, somebody collected money from me. But this way, it's in the wallet, no room for that.
Yeah.
And that was what we built. And now we have changed the name to vidafan.co. So we are bringing out a new product. And this one is a multi-sport app. So it's not just football. So we're starting with football and Formula One. Okay. And it's going to have fantasy. And it's also going to have a chat. So you have fantasy, you have news, you have chat, you have games in the same place. You are able to engage with people, get rewarded, get updated about your sport, and get connected with friends. New friends, old friends.
Oh, Interesting. So, like social media opportunity
Yes.
to connect with people.
Yeah.
So, what has been the like adoption rate of this thing? Because it's sounding so foreign. You know, where is this fantasy sports? I know Nigerians are into sports betting a lot. You know, and when you are like wagering, it's a form of betting. You know, but not the normal one. Whereby, okay, so are people really using it?
Yeah, so this is quite interesting because when you say adoption, and I think this is also something that has, for me as an entrepreneur, just thinking about what is a win for you if you are coming in and you are trying to do something. What do you consider as a win? Perspective is really important. When we started this in 2019, working on it in 2019 as a community and all that. And since then, we had in 2019 we had over 800 to 1,000 people join us on social media. We had chat room on WhatsApp. We didn't have an app. We developed an app in 2020. By the end of 2020, we had over 3,000 people that signed up on the app. And so that's on one side, we signed up, and with, of course, it's been bootstrapped. We didn't take it, we just used funds from family and friends, bootstrap. I started out as sole founder. Now I have two co-founders. But apart from our own numbers, looking at the adoption generally, there have been multiple. I don't know if you've heard of Super Sports Super Picks. Sports Super Picks is just what we are doing. So after that, Super Sports Super Picks has started. After that, there's been another fantasy called Fan Bands, which has started also. So in terms of how are people receiving this from Super Sport, from which you can obviously see that this is something that people are interested in because these companies also have invested in it. Supersport invested in so much, they built an app, they're using their advert time on their shows to push this. And this is in the same Nigeria where we have a lot of people that do traditional sports betting. Traditional sports betting, it works with odds. You need a bookie. Bookie in terms of somebody's going to set the odds, and then your wager, how much you win, is according to the odds. It's a bit complex. When you open, I don't know whoever has opened a betting app before, you just see numbers. What you see is numbers. So do you understand those numbers? But yet people are doing this all the time. They go to bet shops. You see people around. What you see happening is it's a peer-to-peer lending. When you're hanging at the bet shop, the people at the bet shop would indoctrinate you into this is how it goes. Okay, pick this, pick that. Somebody will even come out and there are even people that they are specially just be throwing tips out. This is the tip, this is the tip, this is the tip. So it's a whole ecosystem. Within that, there are people that are not really interested in that. They just want to have something competitive. They just want to play every now and then. They are not, and there's room for that as well. So as adoption of the internet is growing, as people are getting more sophisticated and savvy with regards to how they actually work with sports and tech, there's going to be so much more room. So I think we are just seeing the beginning. These people that I've mentioned, and that's why we are really excited about the changes we've made and what we're trying to do. Just because we know that this is a market that's really going to grow so much. And I don't want to mention other people that are doing things even in other African countries and outside in this space. But this space is really a big space and a growing space.
Great. So I like what you said about you being bootstrapping so far, and other players are joining the space. Now, as an entrepreneur, do you have the vision of expanding to other territories, raising funds? Because this is a business that is primarily done online. So which means your market could be anywhere, anybody in the world can be on your app.
Yeah.
So do you have such plans, or is VidaFan.co, does it have those features already?
Yeah, so the part of the reason why we changed the name from lovefootball.ng to vidafan.co is because also from the people that were using our app, a lot of them were Nigerians in different states of Nigeria. Over 28 states of Nigeria, we have had love football users in over 28 states of Nigeria. But then we had users from America, users from UK. You could play free games on the app, but then the challenge for those users abroad came when it comes to payments, paying and getting paid. So a lot of the users that were diaspora users, that's they are Nigerians, but they are able to connect with the person that maybe sent them the link in Nigeria, or the person that spoke to them and invited them to play a contest. And that person would be able to help and say, okay, let me load your wallet for you. And then you play and all that. And we saw that, okay, if we could, of course, continue having free games, it would be great for us to actually have users from all over the world and not just Nigeria, because sports is a global phenomenon. We also felt like, as much as people really like to people really like to win money and things, they want other kind of reward, not just money. And those rewards involve, some other softer things and some like points and tokens and things like that, which we are infusing into it. So to answer your question, we definitely do have aspirations to have the app available globally. Of course, there are some limitations. Part of the limitation are funding limitations, which is why we would need to, raise more funds from outside and to be able to continue to push it. And we are taking it really step by step. In terms of the functions and features of the app, we're just trying to focus on what users want. And because of the work we've done with Love Football, we already have a core set of users that we are using them to, test out, work on this, to be able to come up with something. And we are also raising small pre-seed round to continue to work on this, because working on technology sometimes it takes longer than you thought it would, and sometimes also you need to engage different kind of infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, things like that. So it's cost intensive. So we are presently raising a small seed round.
Okay, great. I believe we're enjoying the conversation so far. Please, we would all be given an opportunity to ask questions. So please prepare your questions. Maybe within the next 5 minutes, we will take questions from the audience. Okay, so Sam, I know that you are not only about money. Business, of course, you want to make money, but I know that you do a lot of charity. Recently, you had a project, or I think the project is still ongoing, where you are empowering some women, in their businesses. Can you share that with us, please?
Okay, thanks. So yeah, like you said, it's not all about money. Really, what is money? Money is an invention. The way we used to, it's like I owe you notes, we pass around and all that. So what is really important is people and the value people can bring out. From everything I've been telling you about the business that I started, it's basically being able to just isolate the value that people found to be, found to be useful, that they were ready to pay for. And 10 years down the line, brands are still ready to pay for this. We are still, in the journey to create more value that they are ready to pay for. In fact, they are even ready to pay for some value that we've not even created. And it all started from, just the thought. So the thought will connect with the will to do something. And there are so many people in Nigeria. Our friend here who is not from Lagos, and he said the entrepreneurial spirit in Lagos is fantastic. It's ridiculous, to be honest with you. I don't even know how to. People are so enterprising. So Nimbus has been 10 years in the business, and since 2016, we've been doing something called nominated charity. Nominated charity was just a way of this inventory we have on our screens. Sometimes we don't have full complement of clients that took all the inventory. So there are free spots. Rather than just leave these spots, it's just like an aeroplane. The moment the plane takes off, the empty seats are gone. So rather than let there be empty seats, why don't we, if there could be a way that an airline could auction off their empty seats to those who really needed it, And so we thought about it and okay, how can we have our empty slots to those who really need it? Charity organizations, people that are doing something for the society. And so we started nominating charity. So we would just get members of our team profile charities, put them on social media, and then ask people to profile charities also, and comment them and all that. After some time, we would just get the ones that people have profiled most, put them up, ask people to vote, and then the charities themselves will now take that upon themselves and start getting people to vote. And the charity that got the highest amount of votes, we would give them 1 month free on all our screens. And that was, we did that in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and then 2020. We all know what happened. The world came to a halt for some time. We didn't even know whether we were going to survive. We didn't know. But we made it. And then it was our 10th anniversary. And so we're just thinking, okay, this is like 10th anniversary. We've come this far, but we need to switch things up. And so we thought about how could we possibly create more impact. And knowing that Nigeria, Africa in general, charity is good, but what we really need is productivity, value creation, economic empowerment. So what better way than to use our platform to empower those that are trying to create value? And we chose the women this time, not to empower the women. So we changed the name from Nominated Charity to Nimbus Aid Project. So it's not all about only charity. So now businesses can come in. So we changed the name to Nimbus Aid Project. And this year is for women-led businesses. We've gotten almost 600 entries of different women-led businesses, and our judges have broken them down, our partners have broken them down to 40. So there are now 40, and from those 40, the judges will bring out 20, and then we'll put them on our site for people to vote. And then on the 25th of November, we'll announce the 10. So those 10 will all get 2 million naira worth of exposure on our network. Apart from that, our partners take about LSCTF and New Central TV will also give them coverage. So they'll get TV coverage. Take about, they will get a showcase on Tech About, and then LSCTF will help them to learn how they can access funds, increase their human capacity, their human capital capacity. In general, we're just hoping that the impact on those 10 startups is just going to be so much. And then next year again, we look forward to bringing out another criteria, maybe not women-led, maybe something different. So that's what it's all about.
Well, this is so amazing. I like the fact that you are giving back. It's not all about making money, but you are thinking of ways to empower other people. And please keep it up, sir. We are so proud of that. So now let's have some questions from the audience. We have been listening to Mr. Wale Adegoke, CEO Nimbus Ltd, CEO LVM Sports. He has shared a bit of his story with us because I know that there is so much more. But for time, we cannot take everything today. So from what we've heard so far and anything that may be going on in your mind right now, you are free to ask him a question. Martin, over to you.
Firstly, thanks. I think it was really insightful. I think we learned a lot. But I want to come back to one of the earliest points, Renaissance man, you can leave the jargon aside, but I'm really interested in your concept of saying, okay, I want to learn a lot about, or a little bit about many things because, you have a curious mind. My question is, to what extent do you think that has helped you in your businesses, either ideation or strategy? Or is it just like, oh, it makes it better to live in the world where I'm really curious and I can satisfy that curiosity? So is it personal, or do you think it's helped you in business?
Thanks, thank you, Martin. So the truth is, it all started from the personal way of looking at life, and what perspective on life would make living life more pleasurable for me and people that I meet, and make life easier for me and people that I meet. I realize that having an open mind makes things easier, and working with people, different kind of people, I realize that having an open mind helps me to maybe not necessarily get my way all the time, but helps me to manage the relationship so that the people that work with me are more in tune to working towards a common goal. In business, you can't do it all yourself. You need to work with people. So I figured out that I would need to switch from a mindset of trying to get everything done by myself to a mindset of getting the right people and being able to motivate them to get things done, being able to also guide them when necessary to get things done. So just having an open mind about that, people, just relationships with people, I think it's so important for a business person in terms of possibility of success. If you can have an open mind in terms of how, of course, you know what you want to achieve. And if, let's say, you had a goal of selling X unit of product in a certain time, you probably came to that conclusion of this was, you wanted to sell X unit of this product because you were exposed to some information that made you feel that that was possible. Because if you didn't feel it was possible, you wouldn't pick or you wouldn't choose that goal. And you may or may not actually achieve that goal. And if you do not achieve that goal, the question is, why did you not achieve the goal? If your mind is open, you can actually be able to isolate the reason why you did not achieve the goal. Or you might even be able to realize that that goal was not realistic in the first place. So being open-minded in that sense, I think it's really critical for any leader, not just in business, leadership in general. I think you need to be open-minded to a certain extent. And in general, when you are living in this kind of world where what you don't know is always more than what you know. I don't know anybody that can tell me that what they know is more than what they don't know. Like no human being. Yeah, so once you approach life, I think that's quite humbling. With that, you can always know more. And so that's why I would always continue to lean into that philosophy of being open-minded, not just in business, but in life in general.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale, for that answer. Questions?
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. The sport aspect, is it not a betting, is it different from betting we used to see in the shops all over, scattered all over? Because some people are naturally against betting, people like me. So so and I'm a Muslim. I have a very biased mind for betting. So, in fact, it teaches us the kind of businesses we can undertake. So, is there any area of conflict when one is starting such a business that cannot sideline certain section of?
This is a brilliant question. Thank you so much. So I would want to just point out something you said. You said you are a Muslim. So being a Muslim, you have your personal values about. I think that guides what you get involved in and what you don't get involved in. For me, I'm a Christian, and also being a Christian, I think there are also some things about betting. I don't, but it's not about religion or anything. But remember, I mentioned something about myself, and that I'm an open-minded person.
Yes.
So
You know a lot about religion.
I'm not. So I also don't feel that conventional mindsets about different things should be held on to rigidly to the detriment of functionality and practicality in any situation. So if you feel something is wrong, but the thing is legal, you don't have to do it, but then you don't have any moral high ground or way to stop people who are going to do it because it's legal. So in Nigeria, betting is legal. And in America, betting was illegal for some time, but in some places it was legal. And in more places now, it's getting legal. Betting has its bad parts because some people, they get lost in it. They take it too far. So also, with a lot of things in life, they have negative aspects. Drinking alcohol has negative aspects to it. Eating food has negative aspects to it. If you eat too much, you will get, yes. So, of course, our game actually has aspects of gambling to it, but then it's not called gambling in the sense that you are putting in a wager, and if you have points in your wallet, the points might not be money, might be points you've gotten through engaging on the platform. You wager those points. If you lose the points. So it's like a reward system basically, and generally in games like Candy Crush, I don't know if you play mobile games. Games like Candy Crush and other kind of mobile games, they have a reward system whereby you have points. Maybe you want to do a certain action, you need to put money in to help you do that action scale through. People also have issues with that. So people say that people are kids, young people are being shafted and their money is being taken. So there are a lot of things people can say about different things. It really depends on, is it legal? Number one. And number two, is it functional? Is it practical? Is it beneficial? If something is beneficial, because there are people that are skilled at playing fantasy sports and they make a lot of money. So there are fantasy sports platforms in India, in the US, where people are top players and they make a lot of money playing. Also video games, esports. People play esports and they make a lot of money playing esports. Yet some people can say playing video games makes you sedentary, you don't go out, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that you can actually find issue with almost anything if you want to. But moderation is key, and that's why there is legislation, there are rules. So there's an age limit for people to gamble, age 18 in Nigeria. There's also a age limit for alcohol consumption. So I think regulation definitely is involved in this. But then if you look at the stock market, just saying stock market, cryptocurrency, and all those things, people could also say that's gambling too. Because what's the basis of making a decision to make an investment? You could say, okay, you did this research, that research, but you are not sure. You are not, it's still a gamble. You could lose all your money, and in fact, many people have lost all their money. So, when you are open-minded, I think you should also be able to be logical and rational about how you engage with things, and not maybe a bit extreme on one end or extreme on another end. It just has to be a balanced view of things.
Thank you very much. Wow. You're hearing from the modern day Renaissance man. Okay, so can we have one more question? Okay, final question.
Final question, right?
Okay, you
Does that have to be the final question? The other people don't question.
Okay, we are looking at our time, but we will also take from Alibaba.
Thank you, Mr. Wale. So for actually I came late, so I must have missed some of your explanation and presentation. But from what I got, you said something about super sport, super P. I'm not familiar with super sports, super P. But then like you said, basically what you are doing is the same thing what you are replicating, same thing you guys are doing.
Same thing we've done.
Okay, same thing you've done.
We've done.
Okay. Like so now what have you added to your package that is now making it different or kind of higher compared to what you pass for to pass? Is that actually doing an agreement? And again, I checked online your website and I noticed the app. You can't click on it to download. I checked
Which one? Which of the apps?
Vida.
Okay, the app is not ready yet. So
Okay, it's not ready.
you just put your email there. So once the beta is ready, you get it in your email.
Okay.
So please just put your email there for early access.
Thank you.
Let me add to this question. On the technical side, who are your developers? Are they Nigerians or foreigners?
My opinion. Let me answer the question. Okay, so Super Sports, Super Picks. They started out with score predictor. If you are familiar with me, I'm a sports junkie. I love sports. So Super Sports is like the main place where we can watch sports in Nigeria. They have a huge edge. They've put a lot of infrastructure on ground from the cable TV era, now the internet era, and they actually acquired a part of BetKing. I don't know if you are aware. That's the parent company of SuperSport, MultiChoice, DSTV. They acquired a part of BetKing, which is a traditional betting company. So this SuperPicks is the product of that synergy between BetKing and SuperSport. Of course, having the place where the sport is being broadcast is a huge advantage. So they had the normal predictor last season. What is predictor? Predict the scores of the match. They did pick 6, so predict the scores of 6 matches. Jackpot, let's say 50 million naira. If you predict the scores of all the 6 matches, you win 50 million naira. That's not what we were doing on lawfootball.ng. On lawfootball.ng, we're doing daily fantasy, where you pick 11 players for a match from all the players that are available, and then you field it. You can share the contest to your friends, them too they'll pick their own and go against you. You can do it for free, or you could put some money and maybe 200 naira. You send it to your friend will put 200 naira, the pot is 400 naira. Whoever's team gets the highest will take the pot. That's what we're doing. On Super Sports, Super Picks, they've introduced fantasy this year. Now, you can pick from Premier League matches. Of course, on lawfootball.ng, we didn't have just Premier League. We had multiple leagues up to 20 leagues globally. And on Vida Fan, we're going to have multiple leagues also, not just Premier League. So that's one thing. We're also going to have multiple sports. I already mentioned that we're not just doing football, but we're doing football and Formula One to start with. And then we have a community. We already had a vibrant community before we launched Love Football app. We had a community on social media and WhatsApp. When we launched the app into the community, and the community was the first adopter of the app. We closed down the app at the end of last season to build a new app. I'm now going to jump into my Oku's question. So my Oku's question was, developers they are using, are they from Nigeria or not? Number one, no, they are not from Nigeria. But our CTO is a Nigerian, and he works with developers from different countries, including Nigeria. But our tech team is not just Nigerian. But the app we were using before was wholly developed by a team from India. So, and they developed that app. And we were working with the app, but we had to stop using the app because there were some things we wanted to do that we couldn't do. So we had to now build a new app. And in building the new app, of course, we have to now take into consideration things that we learned from the old app. And that's why some of the things we are introducing, especially the engagement part, the chat, it's really critical because our app is like a place where a fan can have an identity, their fan. So the fan's avatar, the preference of the fan, and the content the fan likes will all be tailored according to the information that the fan gives us about themselves. And then through that information, when they are meeting new fans, the new fans that they meet on the platform, they can already see a little bit about them based on that. And then that will also guide the content, the games, the information, scores and things that we are passing over to them, because we have some pre-information about them, and we will keep learning about them because they will keep doing activities and actions on the app, liking people's posts, posting their own content, using some of our flag and filters, and setting up matches, checking scores based on their preference. So that's something that we have as something special in our own app. Bear in mind that Google Chrome is not the only browser in the world. It might be used by more than 50% of people in the world, but it's not the only browser in the world. So there's room for everybody. So far you can have your community and you can give them value. There's room for everybody. And in fact, we are delighted that these guys are putting in their money to educate people about what we are doing.
All right. Thank you so much. One final question.
Yeah, so as Nimbus Media, so do you do some sort of PR or promotions? If you do, what has been your success rate like that? What have been your numbers? Maybe impressions or something like that. And if you don't, do you plan on doing something like that?
Okay, the question is, needs a little bit of, you might need to, because that's what we do basically. So I need you to maybe, can you expand on this question?
Okay, so by success rate, I mean, you've done something for a brand and then it goes to the bullseye, like maybe some examples of what you've done around.
There are so many.
Fantastic, that's interesting.
Okay, so I'll just name like maybe three campaigns or four. So we did last year. We did YouTube Shorts campaign, YouTube for Google. We ran YouTube Shorts campaign across 5 locations around Nigeria, reached millions of people. We did Hennessy 100th anniversary campaign. We brought in the 100-year-old Hennessy cask display in Lagos. That's the oldest cognac cask to ever come to Nigeria. We were part of that. We did Samsung campaign in Abuja for over 4 years. Multiple eyeballs, millions of buzz about it online. We did a techno branding that's still up at Keja City Mall, techno pillar branding with mirrors, come on 19. You can go there and look at it, it's still there. Yeah, we've done campaigns for fair money, banks, a lot of, we've done a lot of campaigns. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I still have a lot of questions there, but our time is fast spent. So I would just like you to give us a parting shot. What advice do you have for Nigerian entrepreneurs in general, for people in this room, for them to take?
Okay. So first, I would say just keep going. Keep going, because it's going to be tough. You're going to get resistance. Also, try and just be as upfront as possible with people that you are working with, in terms of what reward you are going to give them. Try and have integrity. Integrity is really important. You need to keep going, of course, but you need to have integrity. Tell people the truth. When people are talking to you, don't try and maybe sweet talk them, and you don't deliver. It's better for you to under-promise and over-deliver than for you to over-promise and under-deliver. Just be resilient. Be resilient, and then have to go back to it. You need to be open-minded. It might not be exactly how you pictured it. It might not work out exactly how you pictured it. So you need to be open-minded about maybe taking a different approach at times. At the end of the day, what we want is to create value. Value that people will be ready to pay for. Ideally, this value, people from outside Nigeria should be ready to pay for it, just as well as people in Nigeria. And we have opportunities to tell our story. We have each and every one of us a unique story. So if you are living in Ajegunle, I think you have what it takes to be a tour guide in Ajegunle. You can develop a site that tours of Ajegunle tours, and put your booking fee of 5,000 naira. I'll take you on a foot tour around Ajegunle in a day. This is just an example of the possibilities. Like, there are so many possibilities just within a thought. And can you be committed to this and be resilient about it? My 5,000 naira tour of Ajegunle, they might not all bite it today. We started Nimbus in 2011. We registered the company. In 2012, we got concession for Keja City Mall. We installed screens in Keja City Mall. We got first client check in 2013. So this is a long time to be without. Yes, but we are here now. So if you are doing your Ajegunle tour, maybe nobody will buy it this weekend and next weekend. But if you actually have the content for Ajegunle and you actually do a good job in designing the Ajegunle tour, people will come from America, from Paris to take your Ajegunle tour one day. But you need to be resilient, you need to have integrity, and you need to be open-minded when you need to make changes and tweaks. So that's what I would just submit.
Wow. It's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale, for this. I've learned so much. I believe we have all learned a lot from the conversation. Your time here is very well spent. On behalf of Star Road Grind, I say thank you very much. Once again, a round of applause.